My name's Lee Mulliken. I'm captain of a rather zany Mardi Gras group called Crew de Vue that marches through the French Quarter. Every year we're kind of infamous for our adult floats and themes and costumes. And I've lived in New Orleans half of my life. I'm 60 years old and moved here when I was 30. Met my wife here, married my bartender, and just never gave up on this city that I love so much. We live uptown and we've never ever evacuated for any storm. And Katrina tested our mettle. We know we're on a little bit of a sliver by the river, but as everyone knows, that was a really heart-wrenching experience. And we stayed for 31 days in that house without heat or electricity. I've written a book called Hardscrabble Days and Milky Way Nights, a true story of love, strength, and perseverance in America's strangest city before, during, and after Hurricane Katrina. It's a lot about my Mardi Gras crew and all the things that happened in the city that month. Thank you.
Great, thank
you. You do need to say it's already been published.
I have it on Kindle.
You have, and then that means it's already published.
Okay.
And that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing,
no.
but you do need, now in the days of digital publishing, if it is on Kindle or any other digital format, that means it has already been published, and the publisher needs to know that. There are some publishers that will decline to move forward, but not all publishers. And in fact, many of the books are already self-published, and we've been quite happy with our sales. So that won't stop, but you need to be upfront with that. You need to tell them how long it's been on Kindle, and you need to tell them how many you've sold.
Okay.
So you need to tell them that. I couldn't get where you were going. When you started with the Crew de Vue, I thought it was going to be a book about the crew.
It is.
And so, but then it was Katrina and the 31 days. So I got a little confused.
Okay.
That doesn't mean I wasn't interested. It just meant I couldn't figure out where you were going.
Right.
And on a good day, that means I keep reading, and on a bad day, that means I stop reading.
And frankly, I kind of encourage you to stress the crew aspect of it at the expense of the Katrina aspect.
Yes,
Because there are people who read everything about Katrina, and there are people who will not read anything about it. And so I think a lot of your heart is with the Mardi Gras stuff, and that's.
Yeah, that's half
you
the
can
book.
you can still have Katrina in it,
Absolutely.
because everybody that was here, it affected our lives. If you're writing any kind of memoir, it's going to be there.
Yeah, right.
But the crew sounded a whole lot more interesting.
Okay, thank you.
Again, I would agree with this. As someone who's not from New Orleans, I've read and I've heard and I've seen a lot of stuff about Katrina, but the Crew de Vue, I know about it, but I've never seen anything that was from the middle of that. Like, that's what's unique and different about you. And I felt like while your credentials are great and important, I felt like you spent too much of that pitch establishing who you are. Right when you said, I'm the captain of this, immediately I got it. And as someone, again, who's outside of this world, I need to know a couple of particulars about. One year we had from the float that was the giant whatever to the float that was the giant whatever.
Okay.
A couple of those particular pictures would be very helpful for me.
Okay.
But I think you have a fantastic property on your hands here that would be interesting to a lot of people.
Okay, one last thing now, you say if it's digital, be upfront with the publisher.
Right.
Like I'm on the verge of deciding whether to self-publish or not. Just kind of, getting some reviews and stuff. And any recommendations about?
You need to be upfront with the publisher about where you are.
Okay.
Because I will say sometimes if an author is self-published and has gotten all the media, then it's a whole lot harder sell for us, because we can't go back and, Susan would not review a book twice, bless her heart. But it doesn't happen. And so the further along in that you get, the bigger that becomes of it.
Okay.
And so, for instance, the cookbooks we published that have been self-published, we sell cookbooks forever. And so he had gotten local media in another city in the state, but did a lot of traveling. And so there were lots of new places we could promote it. So you have to keep close. You need to decide, do you want to publish it or do you want someone else to publish it?
Yeah.
Do you wanna be an author or a publisher?
And if
And
it's
that's a hard
risque, I
choice.
don't wanna take any more time. If it's risque, I mean, that's gonna affect my publisher.
It will attract
That's
some
right,
people.
it's gonna, you're right, it's gonna affect your publisher.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean it's not publishable.
Right, that's
Yeah,
right. You have to
absolutely.
be true to your subject.
Right.
And that's why it's risque. So,